Hello, it's Nikki. How you doing? Today I want to walk through a money moment that I had last week, and I want to share my thoughts on it and how it landed and to start a conversation about it. I think it's really juicy, and I think that it may uncover some things for you because it certainly did for me. So last week I was listening to a podcast, and I listen to this podcast most weeks. Sometimes I start listening and I just don't connect with the person, and I am that person. Like if I'm not in within 7-8 minutes, or if I'm not in 2 chapters of a book, I'm moving on, and that's fine. Like there's too much other stuff going on in there. But generally I listen to this every week, so I understand the format. I understand what's required of the guests, and this particular person was from the UK also, and this person said they were making £10 million from their personal brand every single year. And actually, they maybe didn't say every single year. I think they said last year. Let me get it right. So last year they made £10 million. And the first thing I did, and I want to invite you to walk through this moment. The first thing I did was I sat with £10 million surrounding me, in my head. And I grabbed a piece of paper and a pen. And I really let that 10 million drop in, metaphorically, not actually into my bank account. Like, come on, I'll let you release the funds. No, drop into the bank, into my piece of paper. And I started to visualize and think about what 10 million would be like, and the kind of lifestyle that I would live, and what I would do, and what would be important to me. And I started to draw it out. And when I did, there was nothing on that list where I thought, oh, that's a bit much. Because actually a lot of that list was about other people and the things that I would do, the experiences that I would create, the charities that I would set up, the production company that I would co-found, all of it. And yes, there was a big juicy house with a vegetable patch in there as well. But it wasn't hugely different to my life. It wasn't a case of, from now on, everything will have to be marble, please. And also don't make eye contact with me. Like it would be more of the same, and helping more people. And also having that understanding that the money-making possibilities are infinite. So it wouldn't just be a case of like having that money sitting in my account and not doing anything with it. The way that I would want to be was to spread it around. And so I allowed myself to think about that. And the second thing that I need to say is I've realized that these big numbers are possible for you and for I just put lipstick on my face when I'm profesh. They're possible. We know people almost to the point where this person, I thought, I bet we have friends in common. That these people are not untouchable anymore. When I used to think about rich people, I would be thinking about a list of names of people I didn't know who were in the Sunday Times rich list, or footballers I would never meet who had huge brand deals, or bizarrely like Elton John or the Rolling Stones. It would be those kinds of people that would amass that kind of wealth. But in this internet space right now, that is not the case. People are doing extraordinary things through technology, through content, through being a founder, through building something. And it was a great reminder to keep thinking about what is possible, because so much more is possible than we think. Number 2, the temptation when you see somebody online, or number 3, who is way more successful than you on paper, because we know it's a holistic process here. On paper, financially, that person is way more financially fruitful than I am. And the temptation is you could say, well, it's probably because they went to private school, or it's probably because they got in early, or it's probably because they know somebody. And immediately we can look at our point of differences. And yes, I paid attention to those as well. But what I then did was I then looked at our similarities. And I realized we were talking about quite similar things. I realized that I actually had some things that this person didn't have in the slightest. Things that if we played a game of this particular skill set, I would win every time. Like, done, thank you very much. That's it, I'm out because I've won. So it's an interesting process because the first thing we often want to do, and our default setting, is to go, well, it's probably because we're different. But actually what I want you to do is go, how are we the same? Because it's probably, there are probably similarities in what you can do. The next thing I want to say is, what are they doing and how are they spending their time and how is it different to you? So when I look at that person, I'm thinking they're probably creating more. They're probably failing more. They're probably doing more things out of their comfort zone. They're probably networking. They're probably doing things that I don't want to do in my business. They're probably not worrying about what people will think. And so when you look at what those people are doing that perhaps you might want to replicate or at least borrow something from, you then begin to understand the gaps in your business and what's going on. How are you different? What is the missing link here? Because again, if we go back to all the ways that you are similar and your sprinkle of magic alongside this, there are so many ways that you can do this too. Finally, I want to talk about the pricing game. It is so emotional. I'm going to say that. It's less emotional for me now because I've really worked hard at it. I've really uncovered, I've really sat with it. I've done the money work, I've done the courses, I've done all of the things. I am very aware of money mindset. And I know also that so many people aren't. And so many people have these negative beliefs about talking about money, about charging well, about charging at all. And sometimes people will say to me, they'll come to me with a money dilemma and they're like, I just don't know what to charge for this. And I'm like, how long have you been thinking about this? No, I don't know. I've just been going over the pricing like for the last 6 months. Like, the last 6 months? But in that 6 months, you haven't been earning the money from that because you've been worried about the price. And sometimes it can be the difference of like, I don't know whether to sell it for £77 or £97. And it's like, well, why don't you try it at one of those? Pick one, see how it goes. If it lands, if it feels good, do more of that. If it doesn't, pick the other one or pick something else. And I realized that the £10 million version was not worried of the difference between £79 and £97. They were moving into action. And I realized in that moment, it's about playing a different game. It's about playing with different numbers, like graduating from that moment where maybe when you were a kid, you were exchanging stickers or bath pearls if you were in the 80s or 90s, or soaps from the Body Shop, or sweets like 1 for 1, like and you'd look in somebody's pick and mix bag and you'd be like, can I have that one? And it's like, yeah, because you can, it feels like a fair match. And then you become an adult and the whole money landscape completely and utterly changes. So what are you going to take away from this? If I can help and support you, come and do Create Your Income Pie. There are 3 ways to join. If you enter MAGIC as the promo code at checkout, you will save 20%. Let's distribute the wealth. Let's have a conversation and let's build the brands that we want to build. And if 6 million, 10 million, 20 million is on your bingo card or your first 100K, do it. It's there for the taking.